Okay, now what we're going to do is that we're going to go through generally about what is hair transplant all about, right? The hair transplant basically, from my perspective, is not to give you hair, right? I'm not interested in giving you hair. I'm interested in giving you the hair which cannot be recognized by other people as if something has been done. I'm sure, so many people, there are about, thousands of surgeons around the world doing on an average of 1 to 2 surgeries per day. So we are talking about hundreds of thousands of surgeries per day, right? You might have come across 1 or 2 people who are having a single line. I was watching this movie the other day. It was Get Smart, right? So in Get Smart, the second in command with the baddie one, the short guy, he had a hair transplant done. You could actually see a straight line over there, right? So he had a hair transplant, and that could be very obvious from a distance, right? A distance means even at this distance, sitting from that corner, you can tell, your eyes can tell that something is unnatural about this thing. It is that stare I don't want anybody to have. They can say that, oh, his hair is thin out, his hair is thin out, his hair is thin out, but at least they should not say that, oh, have you got something done? I don't want that thing. So that is what I call as natural looking hair transplant, right? I go around the world giving lectures on naturalness, and one of the things which happened to me is that I was doing, I'll show you later on in the picture, I was doing a hair transplant, and I saw, wow, these hair are turning in a special way. So, and then I saw the grafts, and I say, well, they have got some special sort of characteristics, so why not to use these characteristics to imitate the nature? And that procedure gave me the Best Technique Award in 2006. Now, why we lose hair? Most of the people would have said, well, when I moved into England, or when I moved this, or when I had that disease, or when I had that thing, I started to lose my hair. It has nothing to do with any shampoos, nothing to do with I was doing, I was dyeing my hair or those. They can change the character of the hair, but to lose the hair you need your genetic makeup, your family history should be there. Number 2, you should have a male hormones. It is not the excess of the male hormone. So by becoming bald, you don't become a Superman or sort of thing, but the presence of your male hormones is enough to cause the hair loss. There was a study in which the identical twin study, one of the twins were actually in the jail, right? It was some time back, and he was because of the accident, he lost his become a little bit insane. So at that time what they used to do was they used to castrate all the people in the jail, so that to suppress their sexual desires. And after some time, the doctor noticed that his twin brother came in and he was totally bald, whereas this person was not bald. So what they do is that he thought of what could be the difference between the two of them. They are both identical twins. So he gave him testosterone, and within 2 years he was as bald as his twin brother. Right, that showed the work of the male hormones into that. So what happens? Your male hormone testosterone changes into dihydrotestosterone through an enzyme called 5-alpha reductase. And one of the tablets that we must have heard of is Propecia, or Genesis comes in Pakistan, or finasteride, the generic term. It stops this enzyme from working, so it does not allow testosterone to go into DHT. Now DHT, or dihydrotestosterone, is the one which works with those hair which are genetically genetically predetermined to lose hair. So once you work with that, there is a cascade which starts and your hair starts getting smaller and smaller. This process is called miniaturization. So your terminal hair gradually becomes smaller and thinner and smaller and thinner until unless you end up with the miniaturized hair, which is just like of the baby hair or the fuzz, right? This is the process is called miniaturization. Now there are different types of this has got nothing to do with that. It's only for us to communicate with each other to understand how much is the hair loss. So if you go and tell somebody then I'm Norwood type 5, he would know roughly what is your donor area, how much roughly the grafts you would need in order to have a certain results. People who are type 1 would not need hair transplant surgery. People who are type 2, if they are less than 25, I would not suggest them to have a hair transplant surgery. I will ask them to use an alternative to the hair transplant and wait till they are little older, because the expectation changes as you grow old, and I want them to have much more realistic approach before do the hair transplant. And gradually it goes down to type 7. Some people will start from the front and the back as well, some only from the front, but this is the end product for everyone, right? And this is the worst. That means you have got serious limitation of the donor area and there is a huge area to cover. So that means the demand and supply, there is a discrepancy between that, and at the end of the day my limitation is the limitation of donor area. If you don't have donor area, I can't do much for you. On an average of 5 to 800 square centimeter area is there which has got hair. Now mind you, you would see, you would have consultation, you must have heard of people saying I'll give you 10,000 grafts, 20,000 grafts, 5,000 grafts, 7,000 hair. There are two things. One is count of hair, one is number of grafts. In true sense, one graft has got one hair. One graft is the root and it will only have one hair. But some of them are paired so closely that we call this a follicular unit, and these are 2 hair follicular units. Or they are paired so closely that could be 3 hair follicular units. Right? If you really use a microscope and they are very close to each other, microscope will enlarge it by 20 times. You can easily split them and make them what we call as these days is extra fine grafts, right? Extra fine thin grafts. At the end of the day, the number of hair are same. They just increase the number of grafts, right? So if I'm doing 5 hair grafts and I'm putting 100 grafts, I'm giving you 500 hair. Somebody can do 500 grafts with 1 hair, they will still be giving you 500 hair, but the number of grafts would be 10 times more, right? So that is what the difference is. So you can have, now there is a little controversy on the controversy doesn't mean that one person is right, the other is wrong, or vice versa. It means there are 2 schools of thoughts, right? What I believe in your front should be natural looking. That means single hairs only, maybe 1 or 2 touching double hair, but all of them single hair, right? And your middle part could be 2 hair or 3 hair or 4 hair. In that way, with the lesser number of grafts, you can get more density per square centimeters, because density depends on the hairs, not on the graft, right? As I said, my main aim is to give you naturalness. Now naturalness is to come close to the nature, is desire we all want to have. And as far as cosmetic surgery is concerned, a good cosmetic surgery is seen by everyone, but it is not recognized by anyone. You can see a person looking very good, but you can't tell he has had anything done. Now that is a good cosmetic surgery. And then, what is naturalness? To come close to nature is a desire we all, and especially when it comes to cosmetic surgery, we want to have. Now, everything you do, if you plan it properly, planning is half winning. So the first thing is presentations. One must